or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks.
We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You undefeated in the regular season. You got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Peterson right now is minus 300 to be the top pick in the NBA draft. And anybody that saw the game on Saturday, you saw his vicious dunk, and you saw his explosiveness, and he hung 18 points up on the board in the first half, right? What did he do in the second half? Ask Bill Self. Why did he come out of the game? What did Bill Self say? I don't know. Ask him. This is where we're at right now.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Good afternoon. Welcome to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. We creep closer to the big game in Santa Clara on Sunday. Can it just get here already? We're here on Wednesday on this edition of NewsWire. We'll have tons of preview today here on the show. Brady Cannon will join us. We'll talk some football. We'll also talk some golf with him. We'll also talk about the latest in sports betting with Sam McQuillan of Legal Sports Report, a resident expert on ratings. Simon Applebaum is with us as well. And naturally, we'll hit on the NBA and some college basketball as well. Got coverage, by the way, all week long, live from the Super Bowl, live from Radio Row, and we'll continue that throughout the week. So stay tuned here on SportsGrid for that. But yes, it does feel like Super Bowl week around here. But then we lead off with an NBA story today. I guess I'm forced to do this, right? Like there's no choice in the matter? Okay. James Harden asked for a trade. He got another trade. Congrats to him. I've never seen anything like this in the history of sports. A guy that's going to go into the National Basketball Hall of Fame that has asked out of every single team he's played on. I believe this is the 5th. So Harden was traded to Cleveland. The Clippers get back a really good player, by the way, Darius Garland, and a second-round pick. And the Cavs play the Clippers tonight in Los Angeles. So the Beard, James Harden, with another destination. It won't be his last in Cleveland. He'll ask out of there probably in a year or two. Also, one other trade, pretty big one. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to the Utah Jazz. And also John Conker, Jock Landale, and Vince Williams Jr. The Grizzlies get back former Gator Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, and also 3 first-round picks, 2 trades in the NBA yesterday. Trade deadline is coming up this weekend. NFL's interim boss, in terms of the players, says, don't expect another game added to my schedule in the National Football League. Of course, the league would like 18 games. As of right now, they're not going to get them. Here is the interim director of the NFLPA, David White, on the possibility of adding yet another game to the regular season.
This is going to cut across many issues that we have been talking about and will continue to talk about. The 18th game. We've stated before, our members have no appetite for an 18th game regular season 18th game. You heard that last year when the executive committee was up here, and they were talking about what happens to their bodies when they're with their families, when they're with their kids. They were very open and candid about that. It's punishing, and we can see that on the teams that have deep postseason runs. And we saw it this year.
One player that's headed to the Super Bowl for the first time is Stephon Diggs, finally getting his opportunity to go this year with the New England Patriots. He's come full circle, of course, playing on Buffalo and Minnesota, trying to get there. Diggs says he's been working his entire life for this moment.
It's been a long time. I've been playing, I've been in NFL for 11 years. I've been playing football since I was 25. It's something that I waited for my whole life for. So as far as like the work, I know how to separate the two. I'm here on a business trip. It's gonna be some fun meeting a lot of new people, good experience. But I'm here on a mission. I ain't thinking about nothing else for real.
Guys like Devon Witherspoon, is their secondary doing anything that you haven't seen all year?
I've been in the league a long time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, excuse my language, I'm gonna curse a little bit, but they got great players over there. Their defense has been miraculous all season. Since we got in the playoffs, we've played 3 of the top defenses in the league. So as far as like getting that experience for us and learning curve, I feel like it's fair well for us. They got a great team, can't take nothing from them. It's gonna be definitely a challenge for us, but I've been in the league a long time. As far as like with the corners, I done seen some of the best corners in the game, Hall of Fame corners. Patrick Peterson, Richard Sherman, all those guys. I took a lot of lumps early in my career, so understanding what I've seen and the amount of football that I've seen, I come with a little bit of experience, I guess.
Speaking of experience at wide receiver, that's what the Seattle Seahawks have at this Super Bowl. Of course, Cooper Kupp previously played in a Super Bowl with Los Angeles Rams, one of a few players, a handful that's even in the Super Bowl that has had this experience before. Here is Kupp on learning some lessons the first go around with the Rams.
Yeah, I think most of it's just handling all of this stuff during the week and allowing your process to take place still. There's lots of things that want to get in the way and disrupt it, but trying to stay on that schedule of understanding the time you're going to watch the film, your study of the playbook, and just being where your feet are, knowing that this is something that has to happen. Have some gratitude for being in this moment and enjoy it, but then when it's time to work, you got to go through and do the work.
How about the game itself, though? I mean, what advice have you given to them? Obviously, it's such a big game.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a big game because of what everyone else says it is, right? But it's still the same game. The game is no bigger, smaller. The football is the same size. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the football field is no bigger. You go out there and play this game. Understand that once the game starts, it's going to feel just like any other game you've played in your life, and we have that expectation. And guys on this team know that, and they've handled things, big moments. When you prepare the right way, big moments become just like anything else.
Atlanta Falcons had a first press conference with Matt Ryan, their new president of operations. Ryan, of course, taking over a team, and he knows about the quarterback position all too well, meaning he will probably go with Michael Penix as a starter next season, although in his press conference, he said that still is to be determined.
I think all of us are going to get together, as Ian's been a part of it for, I guess, 3 days? Yeah, 3 days, and has had a lot on his plate during that time. I think, as we start to get into this process and dive deeper into the roster, how it currently stands, where it's, going in the future, I think those are conversations that'll be a part of it. Quarterback's obviously very important, and we're, excited about Mike and what he's doing with his rehab. I've been up at the facility the last, 3 weeks, and Michael's been in there attacking that, and he's in a good space right now. So we're excited about where he's at, but certainly a lot of discussions for us about the entire roster.
The Golden State Warriors are slumping, and the Philadelphia 76ers are headed in the right direction. Fair enough. Last night, Joel Embiid doesn't play for Philly. They still win, 113-94. Warriors were 5-point favorites, and they couldn't even win this game. Tough scene right now for Golden State. Meanwhile, the Thunder dominated the Magic, 128-92. OKC, 8.5-point favorites. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of course, led their way with 20 points. Mark Daigneault, head coach of Oklahoma City, loved the fact that his team got off to a hot start.
Yeah, I thought for the second straight game, we obviously came out with great pop on both ends of the floor, really connected and locked in with the energy behind it. So guys did a great job from the jump and sustained it pretty well. It's hard to play with that kind of lead when you're up that much in the first quarter. And I thought for the most part, we did a pretty good job of sustaining the same level at both ends of the floor and staying in character despite the lead.
Start of it was turnovers and offensive rebounds. Turnovers for leading out to easy early baskets for them. And then when we did get a halfway of a stop, they were able to come up with the offensive rebound. And I think those are just the small details within the game that when you play a team like this, you've got to know that that's what they do. It's enough to watch it on film. You walk through it in the morning. You can show it to them. We watched it. We walked through it. We touched it. You know, when you get out there, you've got to go and you got to produce when you see it, when you play a team like this.
One of the better teams in the NBA this season, most consistent perhaps in the East, have been the Detroit Pistons. They beat the Denver Nuggets last night, 124-121. They were 5.5-point favorites, so naturally Denver does cover the spread. Jokic, by the way, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. Denver has not won since he's come back, but it's only been 2 games. And the Knicks, for all the panicking that was going on a few weeks ago, they've now won 7 straight games. They beat the Wizards 132-101. All right, over in college basketball, let's hit it. St. John's beats DePaul by a final score of 68-56. St. John's was 10.5-point favorites. They've now won 8 straight games in college basketball. Rick Pitino certainly happy about that.
We just kept telling our guys this is a rock fight. This is a fight on every possession because they are extremely physical on every screen, on every play. They're going to hit you, and you've got to match their physicality. And then offensively, I said, look, we've got to stop fighting running to the ball. We got to go back door. I thought Bryce really wanted the ball in crucial times, made great plays. But this was a tremendous win for us because this was a very, very difficult game to play.
Meanwhile, Miami, Ohio wins again, 73-71. Folks, they're 23-0. Joe Lisi joins us next on the West.
I'll go to my grave convinced, by the way, if Sean Payton takes the field goal and goes up 10-0, maybe that's a totally different game and Denver's playing this weekend instead. So I'm not trying to bash New England. They obviously are a very good team. I just don't think they're a great team, and I felt like the winner of the NFC title game was going to win the Super Bowl. So I still feel, as we're days leading up to this game, I still feel like that's the case.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid. Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks.
We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish, joined by Joe Lisi, getting ahead of the big game this weekend. And a little bit bittersweet, Joe. We had college football ending a few weeks ago. NFL comes to an end this week. Joe, what are we to do here? I mean, for me, it's easy. I just go to baseball, I guess. But for everybody else, NBA, college basketball. I mean, even the NBA takes a week off soon here, too. So we got to get in all our big bets this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. Thanks for having me. Pitchers and catchers, right, with the baseball. But I'm into March Madness a little bit. I wet the palate in late February, early March, and that's what it's all about. And then you prepare for the upcoming NFL draft in late April, and we'll see if Fernando Mendoza potentially is the first quarterback off the board.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to do the draft, and we got the NCAA tournament coming, still a huge event for us here at SportsGrid as well. But let's do the Super Bowl here, shall we? Okay, we got the game coming up, of course, on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's take our look at the odds here today on FanDuel. I mean, it is the Super Bowl, so the odds don't change all that much. 4.5, still the line. Seattle opened up as the favorite, pretty much where they are. 4.5. Total went down a little bit, 46 to 45.5. And so, Joe, you're going to talk about this ad nauseum for the next 4 days. Have you landed on a side or a total? I guess let's start there. Have you landed anywhere on this game?
I have. I've said it all week. I haven't backed down. I believe it's a Seattle line now. Do I think we'll see 4.5s or 4s come kickoff on Sunday night? No, I actually think that as the week progresses, we'll see potentially 3.5s. I honestly believe that because of how dominant Craig, New England has been on the road, 9-0. They've stepped up in road environments, and I understand it's potentially against backup and garbage type of teams. But to have that body of work throughout the regular season and, in fact, the playoffs, going up against Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, one of the best defenses in the NFL, I think that'll hold more weight than the performance of Sam Darnold. So I do feel we'll get New England money coming in at the end of the week. And I do feel we might see 44.5s as well, because if you are taking potentially the underdog and you look at the body of work and you look at the last 3 games in the playoffs, yes, they had the over against C.J. Stroud in Houston, but a majority of that was due to the turnovers in the short field by C.J. Stroud, right? Drake May hasn't really lit it up the way Sam Darnold did against Matt Stafford. So I think if you're back in New England, you favor a lower scoring game, but I like the over. So I like Seattle with the minus the 4.5.
Okay.
And I think we get this game into the 50s. My final score is Seattle 35, New England 24.
Okay, should be a fun game if that is the case. Now, let's focus on both teams, and then I want to go to a prop that you already have out there. Let's start off with the Patriots in particular. Both of these teams, I think, ironically, and I don't know if it's just luck, and I don't know how you feel about this, but they really don't commit a lot of penalties, and they don't allow a lot of yards per game. So that plays into a clean game, which we're all hoping for on Sunday. From New England's point of view, Joe, I don't think there's any question. In order for them to win the game, that's exactly what's going to have to happen. They can't. I mean, Seattle probably could turn the ball over and still win. I don't think the Patriots can.
No, I agree with that. And that they don't defeat themselves, right? That is the biggest thing. And similar to what we saw with Bill Belichick in the Tom Brady era, right? They are the more disciplined team. They don't, commit the costly turnover. And Seattle had that almost bite them against LA with the unsportsmanlike conduct. So you're really going to have to bring your A game. But I think when you break down the game, Craig, and you look at it, Seattle hasn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 28 straight games. So if New England tries to run the football between the tackles with Ramondre Stevenson the way they did against, let's say, Denver or earlier against the Chargers, I think they're going to be up against it. And I do feel that even though Sam Darnold, let's say, does commit a turnover or two, he's shown the ability to bounce back from that. And you're going to get potentially the 3-touchdown performance like we saw last week or 2 weeks ago against the LA Rams. So I have more confidence in Sam Darnold and Seattle playing from behind than, let's say, I do Drake May in the New England offense.
Fair enough. I'm going to skip over Seattle here and get to some of your picks here because I think that's what people are watching us for, not breakdown picks. All right, so we got one prop here that you like. I don't want to give it away, so let's hit it. Travion Henderson is your first number, Joe, going into the weekend. Let's talk about what you like here.
Now, I've been on him, Craig, in the Denver game, he burned me. But I think when you look at this game and you look at how LA was able to run the football on the front seven with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, it was outside the tackles, it was misdirection, and that's the type of player that Travion Henderson is. He did have 911 rushing yards, 5.1 yards per carry. He's an explosive back. He had 32 carries at the end of the regular season in the last 2 games and has now only had 24 carries over the past 3 games. 17.5 is his rushing total. That could be potentially one run. His longest rush is anywhere from 9.5 to 12.5. I think he could get to 30 or 40 yards easy in this matchup.
And the thing is that you can't really take away anything from that last game. I've said that all week long here, Joe. I think you sort of throw out that second half of that game between Denver and New England and take a look at the previous games before. Henderson was a huge part of their game plan, sort of disappeared, as you said last week. I wouldn't worry about that. All right, let's talk about fourth down conversions. We're seeing coaches get more aggressive by the year. And by the way, these are two coaches in Vrabel and McDonald that are aggressive as well. So you like the over on fourth downs in this game. Let's break it down.
I do. It's minus 113 over 1.5 conversions. Now, last year's Super Bowl had no conversions, but you look at the LA Rams, Stafford extended a play on a 4th and 1 if a team is trailing or at the end of the first half. I think that in order to move the football, we can get this number fairly easy. The fact that it's only minus 113, I like that. So give me over 2 fourth down conversions or more in this matchup, guys.
Joe, let's close it out here. We have two teams that have had ancillary players scoring almost every week throughout the playoffs and beyond. Do you have a guy this week that you think could score in the Super Bowl?
Kyle Williams, 11-1. He's the home run threat for New England. They haven't connected. They've tried to get him the football. They might hit pay dirt in Super Bowl 60.
Love it, Joe. We'll catch you this weekend for our Super Bowl big game coverage. Thanks again for coming on NewsWire. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. Love the show.
All right, we'll be right back. Thanks.
I'll go to my grave convinced, by the way, if Sean Payton takes the field goal and goes up 10-0, maybe that's a totally different game and Denver's playing this weekend instead. So I'm not trying to bash New England. They obviously are a very good team. I just don't think they're a great team, and I felt like the winner of the NFC title game was going to win the Super Bowl. So I still feel, as we're days leading up to this game, I still feel like that's the case.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid. Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks.
We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Aside from Super Bowl week in Santa Clara, you have the new head coaches around the league being introduced. So we will take care of that on this little segment here on the show. We'll hear from the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Todd Monken. There's a new LaFleur in town in Arizona. His brother, of course, weighed in on that as well. Let's hit it. It's time for the SportsGrid Sound Off. It was a bit of a curious choice. Call it what it is. Todd Monken is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Is he an upgrade over Kevin Stefanski? People are actually wondering that, and I think that that's probably a fair question. Now, Monken, known primarily for his offense, as he was a stalwart as an offensive coordinator in the National Football League. So the question becomes, what does Monken do about this great defense that the Browns already have? He was asked about that and seemingly is taking a hands-off approach.
Well, first off, my anticipation is we're not going to change the system. Very difficult to go against. I'm not planning on changing the system. We're built for the system that they're in currently. And I'm not going to get into staffing because that's not at this time to get into that. But they can be rest assured that we're going to keep the same system. We're still going to let them attack. We're still going to let them play free. I can't see any other way. They're a big reason why I took this job. The defensive players. I didn't take this job because of Jim Schwartz. I have a lot of respect for Jim Schwartz, but as I would hope he has for me. But I took it because of the players that are here, the ownership, Andrew Berry, and the ability to build this roster from the ground up on the offensive side. So, and I said this to the other guys. I didn't think I'd say it, but I'm going to say it. When I was preparing for the Cleveland Browns, I wasn't trying to chip Jim Schwartz. I was chipping Myles Garrett.
Fair enough. By the way, Jim Schwartz, really good defensive coordinator. They could have made him the head coach too. I don't know why. Weird stuff with Cleveland. All right, Anu LaFleur is a head coach in the National Football League. Feels like this one also kind of came out of nowhere. Arizona Cardinals' new head coach was introduced yesterday. He is the brother of Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. And Mike LaFleur, the new head coach in Arizona, wanted to thank everyone for showing up, very specifically the support of the current players on the roster.
To you guys in the back, to the current players, I really appreciate you guys showing up. When I got the list of how many guys were coming and who was coming, it touched me, man. And I cannot wait to start building relationships with you guys. I can't wait to get to work with you guys. I promise I'll pour it all for you guys every single day. And I can't wait to just get this show going. You know, we'll get through today. We'll get through tomorrow. I told every single one of you I'll be reaching out to you. But this is for you guys. And the staff that we're going to put together is a pour into you guys. When I got some of those FaceTimes on that Sunday, whether it be from my family, some friends, the ones that fired me up the most was coming from you guys, and it got me just more excited to get going. So I appreciate you guys. Can't wait to get to work.
Also in the house for that press conference was Matt LaFleur, the current head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and of course then made his way out to the Super Bowl. But Matt was asked a pretty funny question about being a kid and thinking back to those days, and was asked, did he ever think it was possible that not only would he be a head coach, but his brother would be a head coach, and both at the same time?
I'd say you're fully. It's just, yeah, it is pretty surreal. I mean, just humble beginnings. My dad at Central Michigan. I walked on at Western Michigan and played at D2 ball. Mike played at Elmhurst College, D3 ball. And I think we have a really great appreciation for just guys that are essentially playing for the love of the game. And I think that is kind of in our core and who we are. And then we've been so fortunate to be around so many great people. And he mentioned a lot of those guys. I mean, I say it all the time. I don't think I'm standing here today I hadn't developed a relationship with Robert Saleh when we were cutting our teeth at Central Michigan University as GAs, living in just some, not the best situation, but those are great memories. That's almost when life was a hell of a lot easier, you know. But just the relationships that were built along the way, and then just being around so many great football minds, from the Shanahans to McVays to Dan Quinn. You know, it's been a great journey.
All right, one quick note also from the National Football League. Frank Reich is back coaching in the NFL. He will join Aaron Glenn's staff in New York. He'll become the new Jets offensive coordinator. We'll take a quick time out here on Newswire. We come back next. BetMGM with a new terms of service. We'll get to that and a whole lot more with our guest Sam McQuillan from Legal Sports Report here on Super Bowl week on SportsGrid. We'll be right back.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize. We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You undefeated in the regular season. You got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Peterson right now is minus 300 to be the top pick in the NBA draft. And anybody that saw the game on Saturday, you saw his vicious dunk, and you saw his explosiveness, and he hung 18 points up on the board in the first half, right? What did he do in the second half? Ask Bill Self. Why did he come out of the game? What did Bill Self say? I don't know. Ask him. This is where we're at right now.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Midweek edition with our check-in with Sam McQuillan of Legal Sports Report. He joins us now. You could read all about the stories that we discuss over at LegalSportsReport.com. Sam, great to have you back here on the show as we get ready for the Super Bowl. And I have a feeling, just because I know sports gambling, is that someone's going to lose money this weekend. And BetMGM has decided that if you're going to lose money, that's okay to them because they're making money either way. But what they don't want you doing is they don't want you harassing athletes. Now, you tell me, Sam, I think that this is a great idea because we shouldn't be harassing athletes because they have nothing to do with whether we win or lose. It's our choice. But how in the world is BetMGM going to enforce this kind of idea? Because if it works, I have a feeling they'll be the first of many.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer, to your point, Craig, that, we all hate people harassing student athletes or athletes in general, or officials or coaches. So why don't we make it so that the people that do that get in trouble? And so BetMGM came out this week and said they're doing. They said any user who is found to be harassing, threatening, sending messages online to referee, anybody who works for the team as part of the game, they could face an account suspension or an outright ban overall. So it's kind of seems like a no-brainer, but the question is how would they enforce that? They said they're going to use something in its new terms of service where it's going to be investigating different reports that get sent to them. So let's say, for example, if you have someone in the Super Bowl this coming week, they say they're getting a lot of messages from one bettor who has talked about a parlay he's placed. They can send that to BetMGM. BetMGM will review it. So it basically just allows BetMGM to take action legally against these people to keep them off of their platforms. Seems like it's pretty easy to do. Whether or not it'll actually curb people from harassing people and stuff, that's a different story. I think it was last summer we saw there was a heckler who heckled Gabby Thomas, the Olympic gold medalist at a track event. And he said he had a huge parlay on FanDuel. FanDuel then banned him, said he wasn't allowed on the platform. So books have been able to do this kind of thing before, but BetMGM really the first one to come out with a new policy, add it into its terms of service. And I think this is as much about just kind of messaging and getting behind this stuff because, the talk about all this stuff is just crazy right now with all the scandals we've had, certainly as we go over into March Madness. and the line between professional sports and amateur sports becomes increasingly blurred with college sports as well. But it's nice to see BetMGM actually doing something. We'll see what comes out, whether they have a certain number of statistics of what this curbed or helped. But, seems like it couldn't hurt, that's for sure.
So we'll get to Missouri here in a minute. Missouri was the only state that went online last year in terms of legalizing sports betting, and here we are heading into, the spring, and I haven't heard a thing about any state, and we'll get to that in a minute because every state at this point does count, Sam. And right now, if Alaska's on the board, we shouldn't laugh about it because I am laughing because literally, if no other states legalize sports, we could go a whole year with no one new going online. And I think that for the first time since the PASPA was repealed, we may actually have a year of no new legal states.
Yeah, context is everything here. If I was on this show a couple of years ago with you, Craig, talking about Alaska as major news to legalize sports betting, that wouldn't have made one of the stories we talk about. It would have been, a drop in the bucket. It's a small state. There's no major sports teams there even. But with what you're mentioning, Craig, is that, we have 39 states where sports betting has been legalized and launched. We're now running out of states. We certainly have a number like Utah, which will probably never legalize sports betting. Whether we get to a point where everything is just on prediction markets anyway, so it doesn't even matter if states legalize, maybe that could finally get those holdouts. But this week, lawmakers in Juneau coming back with a bill they actually had last year that would have legalized sports betting in the last frontier state. It would allow up to 10 different sports betting apps in the state, which is really important when you talk about, a free market with, competitive odds and different offerings out there, especially with promos as well, which we'll get into a little bit with Missouri. And it would also require that these operators are licensed in at least 3 other states or partnered with somebody else who is. So you wouldn't be seeing any brand new entrants in Alaska, even though I think we're pretty late and we're in a later stage now where we would not be seeing a new entrant anyway, just because it's so hard to make money. So I would suspect all the usual names, the FanDuels, the DraftKings, the Bet365s of the world, would be a 20% tax. And really important too, something that when we talk about, what was going on in Chicago earlier this year with them trying to have their own city sports betting tax, this bill would also prevent any city or municipality within Alaska from adding their own sports betting tax onto that. And I think that language obviously comes from the industry itself, which said, hey, we want to make sure this doesn't happen in any other states. So we'll see what happens. The legislature has until May 20th to get this done. We'll see if, the rise of prediction markets has spurred them to want to get that tax revenue, or if it's something they, just really don't care about that much, and we'll get to it eventually.
Okay, so now let's get to Missouri, because Missouri was that one state to go legal last year. They started off in December, and I'm going to guess that they're very happy with the results. December is a very big football month, basketball, and naturally, I have a feeling, Sam, that Missouri will be a big winner here for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Missouri's off to a really, really hot start, having only legalized sports betting in December. They only have 1 month of wagering activity, but already in the first month, $542 million in handle in the state, which makes Missouri about a top 15 market right off the bat in between Indiana and Tennessee. So states of similar size. Maybe you would have seen even more handle if the Chiefs had made, a deep run into the playoffs like they usually do. But Missourians are still betting a lot. They're betting on football a lot, obviously. Football made up about 28% of the total handle in the first month. And really interesting as well, 39% of all the handle was tied up in parlays. So that's almost 40% of all the money that was bet was on a parlay. And parlays did really well for operators, as they usually have. They held about 35%, which means that 70% of the revenue that Missouri operators made in their first month was all from parlays. 70% was all from parlays. So not a huge winning bet for customers yet in the state. FanDuel actually led the way with the most handle. They had about 39%, which is above what they kind of averaged nationally, although not too much higher. DraftKings the same. Both companies actually took a net loss in the first month, though, when they obviously made a lot on parlays, but I think they spent a lot of that on promotions, advertising, and really trying to flood the gates in Missouri, which is a bigger state than we've had in the past when we were only talking about Kansas legalizing or Vermont or a state of that nature. So a lot of money being bet in Missouri so far. Football obviously leading the way, and it'll be something we continue to watch throughout the rest of the year. When you think about these companies and their plans, if they're still spending a lot in Missouri to try to beat out others like Bet365, which also had a really good month, how will that impact what the rest of what they're doing across the country as sports betting continues to mature? Obviously, as not these companies now have prediction markets as well. It's going to be a really interesting year. Missouri is kind of the one sports betting state in the backdrop that we'll be watching as it relates to everything else.
All right, Sam, as we wrap it up here, I know that you'll be very busy over at Legal Sports Report this week. Your Super Bowl coverage, of course, very different than a lot of the ways that other folks cover it. I know you'll be watching how many people are betting on it, who's downloading apps, and then naturally, this is the first time I think that you've been on the show with a minute to go that we have not mentioned prediction markets at all. I think this is the first time we've gotten this far in weeks.
Cash that ticket, Craig.
We definitely have. All right, Sam, have a good week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you next week. Thanks, or Friday. Thanks again.
I'll see you on Friday. Thanks, Craig.
All right, Sam McQuillan joining us. I'm sure he'll have a prediction market story coming on Friday from Kalshi, Crypto.com, Coinbase going live this week too. All right, coming up next, Simon Applebaum is all ready to go. It's Super Bowl time. So for Simon, that means a couple of things. It means the big game, and it also means the big commercials. Who's on? Who's paying what? We'll get into that next. And also, this ESPN NFL Network deal is officially done. Simon will weigh in on that as well. NewsWire on SportsGrid returns right after these quick messages. It's big game week here on SportsGrid. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize. We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You go undefeated in the regular season, you got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Peterson right now is minus 300 to be the top pick in the NBA draft. And anybody that saw the game on Saturday, you saw his vicious dunk, and you saw his explosiveness, and he hung 18 points up on the board in the first half, right? What did he do in the second half? Ask Bill Self. Why did he come out of the game? What did Bill Self say? I don't know. Ask him. This is where we're at right now.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Really doesn't matter who's playing in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a very heavily watched game. It's arguably the #1 rated event of the year, show, sport, whatever it is. And so this is our last shot to get in all the preview with Simon Applebaum. The podcast tomorrow will be televised, and he joins us now, Simon. And, you know, when you think about it, for NBC Sports, it's not their last shot, but with all the networks getting the Super Bowl, they only get it once every few years. And so it's time for us to see if they can pull out all the stops for this year's show. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, Craig. And they are pulling out all the stops. They had a conference call with the media yesterday. I was on it with Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth and Drew Esikoff, who's going to be directing the game and so forth. And they are looking forward to this like crazy. They're doing a 5-hour pregame show. And for the first time ever, Telemundo, the Spanish language network, is also doing a 5-hour pregame show as well. They'll have Miguel Gerwitz and Rolando Cantu calling the game. Doing a great job with Sunday Night Football all year long. They're also going to do a special Saturday afternoon pregame show on Telemundo Deportes. That's the Spanish language full-time Telemundo sports network. They are very excited about what's going on. They're all set to go. They're all set, of course, to have Tirico, as soon as the game is over, fly out to Milan, Italy, and take over as the primetime host of the Winter Olympics, along with Maria Taylor, who'll be doing the pregame show. Also, I can tell you this. There's another organization that's very excited about this game, and that's ESPN, because they get the game next year. And even though it's going to be ESPN ABC, they're going to make a big deal out of this. As soon as the game is over, Chris Bremen's going to be on ESPN with a special NFL primetime edition. And then for the 24 hours afterward, they're doing what's called the handoff, where a lot of their shows like Get Up, First Take, etc., are going to have events from the side of the Super Bowl to sort of start promoting, hey, we're going to get it next year. And even though ABC is going to simulcast the game, technically is an ESPN event, and it's going to be the first time technically that a Super Bowl is going to run on somewhere other than a broadcast network. Yes, there's a lot of interest in the commercials. A lot of people think the commercials the last couple of years have been awful. They'll be awful again, even if they have celebrities. Although there's a Harris poll coming out on Friday. Can't talk about it now, but my understanding is that there is a sizable number of people who think that commercials, when you have celebrities in them on the Super Bowl, they make them much better.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I did see the Jurassic Park one. That's out already. And I did think that was fun, but that's fun for people like me, Simon. I mean, generally speaking, if you're in your 20s or even in your 30s, you may have no interest in that. And you're right. The commercials the last 2 years have been dreadful. I think that is fair to say. Okay, so speaking of ESPN, their deal with NFL Network, and the deal is officially done, is my understanding. And so the NFL now has equity officially in ESPN, and that partnership will obviously help them also. And look, a lot of cord cutters, as you know, Simon, with all of these networks, whether it's NFL Network or Major League Baseball's network or some of the NBA ancillary programming, this could only help, I think, their cause.
Absolutely. And by the way, the NFL out of this gets a 10% stake in ESPN, which is valued now at $3 billion. And that's not all. Something you're not hearing about is that for giving NFL Network and NFL Fantasy Football and Red Zone to ESPN, the NFL gets rights to sell a package of 4 primetime Monday Night Football doubleheader games. So they're going to go off Monday Night Football. They're going to go somewhere else starting this coming season. So if you're Netflix, if you're Paramount Plus, if you're HBO Max, if you're Apple, if you're Peacock, etc., you may, or YouTube even, you may be calling up Roger Goodell after the Super Bowl to say, hey, I want those 4 games. It's primetime games. You know, they're going to have good teams. They're a good package. And this is something that I think is going to be very, very interesting. And let's not forget also that ESPN's deal got done in light of the big change at the top of their parent, Walt Disney. Bob Iger is going to leave his role as CEO starting in mid-March. He's going to be Josh D'Amato, who is currently the head of theme parks and experiences. He's going to take over in the CEO role. Dana Waldron, who's their head of programming, she's going to take over as president and chief creative officer. And Jimmy Pitaro is going to stay on as the head of ESPN. And Josh D'Amato made it very clear in an interview he did on World News Tonight with David Muir, with Bob Iger alongside last night, that he is going to try to make ESPN a very, very big deal in the years to come. And he wants to take chances. So if you're Jimmy Pitaro, you may be getting the green light to do all sorts of things, including maybe finally doing sports betting through the TV set.
Simon, usually the Super Bowl ends, the NBA has its All-Star break, and we kind of have this lull until the NCAA tournament, March Madness. This year, not the case. Winter Olympics is literally right around the corner before even baseball begins. And obviously, Simon, very good opening ceremonies, everyone watching that. What will lock people in to the entire Winter Olympics this go-around?
I think it's going to be the U.S. team, and can somebody stand out? And as a matter of fact, we're talking about right around the corner. Tomorrow morning on USA Network, the actual events got started. And by the way, NBC and Peacock will have a primetime preview show at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The opening ceremony is going to be live on NBC and Peacock at 2 p.m., and that is after events like the figure skating new team competition gets started. And then it will be replayed on NBC and Peacock at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I think, first of all, I still wonder why, I mentioned this last week, why does the International Olympic Committee put events on before the opening ceremonies, like cheapening the product? However, I think the question is going to be, number one, is USA and CNBC, now that they're under Versant, are they going to step up to the plate and promote and publicize their events? USA being the Team USA network to watch. And also, are more and more people going to see Peacock as the way to watch the games? By the way, there's interesting news. Lindsey Vonn, some people thought because of her ACL injury she suffered over the weekend, she's not going to participate. She is going to participate in the Olympics. And by the way, Savannah Guthrie, out of the coverage whatsoever. So NBC may have to substitute co-host, obviously, what's going on with her family and her mother, the situation in Arizona. So we're going to see what kind of changes NBC makes and Peacock make in their coverage. But the bottom line is the U.S. team has got to step up and provide the interest level, because nobody else beyond NBC and Peacock is going to do it. I do think that the figure skating team, the ice hockey team, both men and women's, with NHL players and PWHL players playing, I think they have a great shot to put the Olympics up. And by the way, Gold Zone will be back for the Summer Games in 2028. And Scott Hansen, who is going to host Gold Zone again starting next weekend, he will be back for 2028 on NBC and Peacock.
Simon, your podcast coming up this week. Who do you have?
I think it's going to... Friday we're going to have the executive producer and showrunner of the new Netflix figure skating drama, which just got a second season. He'll be our lead guest on Friday.
Awesome. All right, Simon, thanks again. We'll look for it to drop. We'll take a quick timeout. Brady Cannon's up next. Don't go away.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize. We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You're undefeated in the regular season. You got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots, and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Peterson right now is minus 300 to be the top pick in the NBA draft. And anybody that saw the game on Saturday, you saw his vicious dunk, and you saw his explosiveness, and he hung 18 points up on the board in the first half, right? What did he do in the second half? Ask Bill Self. Why did he come out of the game? What did Bill Self say? I don't know. Ask him. This is where we're at right now.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Our daily check back at the G2E conference in Las Vegas from October. This go around, we've got our buddy Brady Cannon, who, by the way, is going to join us live here coming up in just a few minutes. Brady sits down with the co-founder and president of BC Ventures, Marco Bianchi. Such an interesting conversation about where the future of sports and gaming is headed. Let's head back out to Las Vegas, and here is Brady with Marco.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is G2E SportsGrid's continuing coverage here from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Brady Cannon, and right now I am joined by our friend Marco Bianchi. He is the co-founder and senior vice president of BC Ventures. What is BC Ventures? Mr. Brian Christopher, the slot maven himself. I feel like we're kind of co-workers. SportsGrid carries your programming. Brian Christopher's slots, BC Slots, the show. You can find it on YouTube. It's a world sensation. Popularity through the roof. And, of course, it's carried right here on SportsGrid. Marco, thank you so much for joining us. I just need you to educate me as much as we educate the audience here. I know, obviously, Senior Vice President of Operations with Mr. Christopher. He's the slot player. You're the businessman behind everything. Talk to us. What's going on?
You got it. That's absolutely right. Brian's such a creative mastermind. He really stood up this whole space that didn't exist a decade ago, and he was the pioneer when it comes to entertaining audiences on social media with slot play, in this small, crazy niche that we find ourselves that has now exploded. Fast forward about 10 years of BC Slots. We're going to be celebrating a big anniversary next year. And, all the big brands want to work with us, want a piece of it. It's a great place to be. And for us to be working with SportsGrid absolutely feels like we're coworkers. We syndicate and distribute a bunch of BC Slots content that you can see on YouTube. You can always also find it across the SportsGrid CTV footprint. And this allows us to really have access to that extra, 200 million US households that you guys reach. And it's a fantastic opportunity to put Brian Christopher and our property in front of a broader audience.
Tell us about some of the other brands, the offshoots that you really have created yourself.
Yeah, it's been incredibly exciting to not only build a team, for me gratifying on the business side to really develop our capabilities from a marketing services standpoint. So BC Ventures was first and foremost built to support our broad panoply of partnerships, and that's really one of the vectors of growth that we've utilized really successfully is growth through partnerships. We've been really smart in that regard. As far as the brand portfolio that offers consumer player experiences, offshoots of BC Slots, we now have specific channels in other segments, BC Slots being the flagship and focused on land-based casino play. We have BC Bets, so Brian Christopher Bets is tailor-made for real money gaming, and it's a channel that is now fully sponsored by BetMGM. This is an exclusive ambassadorship that Brian Christopher has with BetMGM, and it gives way to this incredible immersive content. We have BC Spins, which is a third channel for YouTube that is all about social casino. And then I would be remiss, one of our most important offshoot brands nowadays is Flip the Switch, which is our player knowledge platform where we demystify all about casinos, how slot machines work, online play, and give incredible offers to our player base. So all of that really kind of creates the Brian Christopher universe, which also has footprint in other areas through licensing. You see us on casino floors with not one, but two slot machines that are co-created with Gaming Arts. The latest of which is Brian Christopher's World Cruise.
Yeah, here on the floor, the Venetian Expo floor at G2E 2025, the Brian Christopher World Cruise slot is on this floor, and Marco kind enough to explain everything that's going on. It's really fascinating. Your growth is admirable. You know, a guy playing a slot machine has turned into this, a corporation, BC Ventures, right? So tell us about, now you've got your own game. Tell us about that.
You bet. This is the second in the series, which we're incredibly proud of because it is a testament to the performance of the first game. A couple of years back, Gaming Arts approached Brian and said, hey, what do you think about having your own title? And we have this franchise.
It must have been thrilling for him.
Oh my gosh, it was like, a dream come true, you know, like a kid with a new toy.
Terrific. He is Marco Bianchi. He is the co-founder and senior vice president of operations for BC Ventures. Again, the business behind Brian Christopher. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks so much for having me. Pleasure.
I'll go to my grave convinced, by the way, if Sean Payton takes the field goal and goes up 10-0, maybe that's a totally different game and Denver's playing this weekend instead. So I'm not trying to bash New England. They obviously are a very good team. I just don't think they're a great team, and I felt like the winner of the NFC title game was going to win the Super Bowl. So I still feel, you know, as we're days leading up to this game, I still feel like that's the case.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burress game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
NewsWire, only on SportsGrid. Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks.
We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Always great to catch up with our buddy Brady Cannon. We'll talk some golf with him coming up, and also, of course, some pro football with the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. And Brady is, of course, at the mecca of Super Bowl betting, which is still in Las Vegas, Nevada. A lot of folks still go out there for the Super Bowl. Maybe not as many as March Madness, but I think Vegas is probably right there as a close second. So before we get to that, I think we did this conversation last year, but for folks who don't remember, I want to do it again this year. Before sports betting was legal around the country, I think Vegas was the destination to go. Now that sports betting is legal, everybody can do it on their phone. Certainly, there's a lot of different options for it. But Brady, I've always found fascinating the when the books open. I need you to tell me the story though about how the books open on Sunday night with the props. And I like there's rules behind it. You could only bet a certain amount, and only certain people are invited. It's a fascinating story, if you wouldn't mind telling it to folks out there, because everyone just kind of thinks, oh, I just go on my phone and I bet. But Vegas like has the specific rules surrounding some of these props.
Yeah, and now that we're later into the week and obviously approaching game time here, you can go on your phone and bet these props. But the initial release was earlier this week. Usually it's on last Thursday, but you know, now the DraftKings and the FanDuels and all of those guys are, you know, those, like you said, those props come out as soon as those championship games have been completed and the Super Bowl matchup has, you know, come to fruition. We're getting that type of market opening up very quickly. But it's been a tradition here in Las Vegas. Started with my good friend, a Hall of Fame bookmaker, Jay Cornegay, when he was at the Imperial Palace. I don't know if he is completely responsible, but certainly a big part of really making these Super Bowl proposition bets widely popular. And it started way back when. And then, so he moved over to the Westgate, which used to be the Las Vegas Hilton, this Wednesday, they had their prop release party or whatever. There's a line out the door, professionals only, pretty much. Friends of the program here, Paul Bovey, Bill Krakenberger, Steve Fezzik, Rufus Peabody, all those guys are in line, when these props are first released. In fact, I've got the sheet here. Look at that. This is a Bible.
Oh, I love that sheet. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. That was my next thing.
It's over 55 pages and over double-sided and over 500 proposition bets from the Westgate Superbook.
Wow.
So the rules you're talking about, you're only allowed to bet up to $2,000. In fact, you have to bet at least $1,000 if you're in that line. If you're going up there to bet $20, no, you're going to have to wait. So, $1,000 minimum up to $2,000 maximum. And you're only allowed to bet 2 or 3 props, and then you got to go to the back of the line. That gives them a chance to adjust the number, what have you. So, one guy dives in and he bets the number, adjusts the next, and it's bang, bang, bang. I want to say it starts around 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific time and probably goes for about 4 or 5 hours. Before everybody is just kind of exhausted what they want to do for that evening, and then the game is on, and then you go from there and play with whatever the numbers the market has adjusted, given what these sharps have done with the initial opening.
Yeah, that's thanks for sharing that story too. That I remember working at SiriusXM for many years and getting ready to do my shows, waiting on that little booklet, waiting for somebody to email me. Or even I remember somebody faxing me one year.
Oh, wow.
Like all of the, yes, I remember getting a fax. It was like 20, 30 pages. I was like so excited for that. Let me ask you this, Brady. Do you subscribe to a theory that I had heard many years ago? We probably talked about it, but again, new viewership, new people streaming our show. Do you subscribe to the idea that some of these prop bets are very winnable, meaning more winnable than other things throughout the year? Because the idea is that that Las Vegas and some of these shops believe that no one can walk in to a shop and bet just one. And they know that their margins will be met by people placing 5, 10, 15 bets. Like literally who can go in there, place on one prop, Brady, and walk out, and that's it. But the idea is they know that they're going to lose on some of them because some people are going to just do that, and there'll be an edge on that. Do you think that that is a real thing?
Absolutely. I think the books make a lot more money and probably do a lot more handle these days on their proposition bets rather than they just do on the traditional side and total. I'm almost positive they do more handle. I would say it's maybe 60-40 as far as percentage. And I think they're set up to make a lot more money. Now, as far as, the second part of your question there, can you go in and win? I think absolutely, Craig. And it's a lot different. Like I'm looking at some prop bets here. Will either team score in the last 2.5 minutes of the first half? Now, that happens all the time. You get a field goal before halftime, that type of thing. The last it's minus 310. That's what I saw it earlier in the week. Minus 310 at the Westgate. I'm going to lay it because that always happens. That's, I think, the formula to betting prop bets that you can't be afraid of is you have to be ready to lay some juice. And these things are priced. I saw one earlier today. Will both teams attempt a 2-point conversion? And it's minus 800. Now, am I going to bet $800 to win 100? Probably not, but maybe I'll put $50 down to win, this or whatever. The point is that always happens or never happens. There's a reason it's priced like it is. So I think you're better off eating some pretty serious juice in the prop market and bet a lot to win a little, rather than the mindset of I'm going to go bet a little to win a lot. Like there's a prop bet out there that's plus 350. It's probably not going to happen. These guys obviously have watched thousands of football games and Super Bowls, and what typically happens is priced accordingly. And you kind of have to go with that direction, in my opinion.
I like some of the wacky ones too, and I wanted to show you a bunch of them here. These are like Super Bowl records to be broken. And honestly, I don't know that this is the Super Bowl to have it happen. Any player to record 216 receiving yards is plus 3,500. Either quarterback to record 7+ passing touchdowns. Any player to record 15+. I mean, maybe Jackson Smith and Jigba could get that 15+ receptions. I don't know, but that's what I like about all this, just because the options are just so vast.
Oh yeah, and you know, I will definitely put down a couple of dollars on some quote unquote lottery tickets too, like what the exact final score is going to be. Like, I think I have Seattle to land on exactly 27 at 12-1, and the Patriots to land on exactly 20 at 10-1. And I like AJ Barner to score the very first touchdown. I like to go to these teams have 2 weeks to prepare. So the obvious is not necessarily going to be what's happening. I believe they're going to come up with, plays that nobody's seen all year long. And let's go to the backup tight end. Let's go to Austin Hooper at 30-1 for the first touchdown. Yeah. That type of thing. Did we ever see the Philly special before? Nick Foles and company introduced that to the no. So I think you kind of have to look for the under the radar, down in the weeds type of stuff. And again, those big payouts, you got to tread lightly with those. And I think you want to spend more money on the bigger favorites. I think that's kind of the general rule with the props. And now where we are, Craig, getting later in the week here, we talk about that party, the grand opening at the Westgate. Mm-hmm. That's when guys are probably betting on the yeses and the overs. Now that those numbers have been so tweaked, and with the public showing up into town now, today, tomorrow, the next day, by the time we get to Sunday, you're probably going to want to start looking at betting on the nos and the unders.
Give me one quick one that you like going into Sunday. 30 seconds.
I like Drake May to throw an interception. Drake May to throw at least one interception, and I think you'll find that at about -140. He hasn't been at his best as of late. I think he could have at least one slip.
All right, we'll be back with Brady and hit on the PGA Tour after this.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks.
We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers and control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much, as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Can USA overtake Canada and get that gold, Joe?
Absolutely, they can here. And ultimately, it feels like that is the two-horse race. And I think ultimately, Canadians don't really care if their team competes in the luge or the bobsled, Donnie, or anything else. They just want that gold when it comes to ice hockey. And that is the only thing that's going to matter there.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Drake May and Sam Darnold here, and again, getting out of Stidham, which who knows what that have brought to the Super Bowl, but at least we get a young quarterback in Drake May looking to stamp his claim to, yeah, Tom Brady was great for this organization. Let me see if I can run a couple championships up the flagpole early in my career. And then there's Sam Darnold at this point, where he's getting other general managers fired while he's making his run to the Super Bowl. He's been nothing short of really, really good this season.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to NewsWire here on Sports Grid. Farmers Insurance Open was last week on the PGA Tour. Brady said that some crazy long shot was going to win. He was right. It wasn't the one that we thought, but he was right. One did win. But it was Justin Rose who, Brady, what we probably should do, learning from Justin Rose's his week, honestly. Maybe what we should do is take $5 every week and just bet Justin Rose. Would the math work? Because he's going to win one of them. He always does this. Every year, he's a crazy long shot. This one was 66-1, and then we probably won't hear from him the rest of the year.
You know, I was looking at the golf courses that he's won at in his career, and boy, it is just a list of the best, most historic stuff out there. He's won at Congressional. He's won at Aronimink, where their PGA Championship is going to be this year. Marion, Torrey Pines, Pebble Beach, Medina is a part of the Ryder Cup team. And I love the guy. He's one of the absolute nicest guys in the world of golf. And God, and he just steamrolled the field. He set record. 23, 24 under par at Torrey Pines. My goodness. And you talk about putting $5 on him. Of course, I had, a couple bucks on him at 100-1 to win the Masters last year. And he gets all the way to a playoff with Rory. Thankfully, the playoff gave me an opportunity to hedge my bet. But yeah, Justin Rose, man, 45 years old and continues to just be a stellar player. Great to see him pull this off. And I saw earlier today, he's now like 30-1 to win the Masters. I'm not going to go there. I don't think that price is good. Last year, obviously, 100-1 was great, right. But and here we are, the Phoenix Open, the People's Open, the greatest show on grass, call it, the party at 16, the Masters, of course, your tradition, unlike any other. This is a great weekend in sports too, where the golf tournament is kind of the appetizer before the Super Bowl.
It is.
And I remember a few years back, I hit Webb Simpson in Phoenix, an outright winner on Webb Simpson before I think it was the Chiefs and the 49ers, round one of that Super Bowl matchup. And so it's wonderful to cash a few golf bets before they kick off on the Super Bowl. And so, yeah, I love that, a double header, if you will.
Yeah, and pairing, you can actually pair some of the golf, I know, with the Super Bowl on some of these bets, too. I know that's very popular through the years. Always this tournament, by the way. Going back to Rose, 45 years old and 6 months, almost topped Vijay Singh, 45 and 8 months in the 45 and up club to win on the PGA Tour. All right, so let's show the odds for the Phoenix Open. These are disgusting. Scotty Scheffler plus 220. Oh, my gosh. Isn't
that amazing?
Plus 220? I thought it was disgusting when he was 4-1. Wow. Xander 19-1.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Brady.
2-1 on Scotty. Yeah, I've seen maybe plus 230 is about the highest. In the neighborhood of 20-1 on Xander. In a head-to-head matchup, I was telling my dad this yesterday. And, doesn't really know a whole lot about betting, but he knows Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler. In a head-to-head matchup for the full tournament, Scotty to beat Xander is minus 500 at some books. Isn't that unreal? Is that really the separation between those players? I didn't land on either of them, Craig. I'm going to try and take him on and beat him. He's won here twice. This is a tournament kind of like Augusta, kind of like the Sony Open in Hawaii, where we see the same types of players or same names populate the leaderboard year in and year out. Scotty's won here twice. Hideki Matsuyama's won here twice. Brooks Koepka back in the field this week, had a nice week at Torrey Pines. Couldn't make a putt to save his life, but his ball striking was outstanding. He'll be on a different surface now here in the desert. Maybe he can get the putter figured out. A lot of people on Brooks. At BetMGM, he has the second highest ticket count, second to guess who. Scotty, number one, with the highest ticket count at BetMGM. Brooks Koepka, second, and Xander Schauffele, third, to win this event. As far as the shorter shots, I did land on Hideki Matsuyama. Guy's been playing great. A couple of top 15 finishes to start his year. He did beat Scotty back in December at the Hero World Challenge, and we were on him successfully there. That's the tournament in the Bahamas, Tigers event with 20 guys, and Matsuyama beat Scheffler in that one. I think he could possibly do it here again. He's in the neighborhood of 25-1 or so.
All right. Also taking a look here, Sam Burns, Kitayama 77-1, Mitchell 85-1, Bazenhout 100-1, and Hatong Lee at 105-1. Clerically here, let me ask you this: is this? I forget if I'm right or wrong about this. I know they moved the final round of the Waste Management Open at some point off of Sunday. Is it on Sunday again? I forget. Was it last year that they changed it?
Yeah, what they had done in years past, and I was kind of surprised they didn't do it this year. They moved the Farmers Insurance at Torrey Pines, where Rose just won. They moved it to a Wednesday start, and it would finish on Saturday, and then championship weekend, the conference championship games for the NFL would have that Sunday standalone. But the Phoenix, as far as I know, has not changed. It always kind of wraps up right around kickoff, so that final round will be on Sunday. Like I said, it's a great lead-in. Hopefully you can cash a few bets and be ahead before the big game even kicks off.
All right, Brady. Well, appreciate everything as always. Enjoy the golf and enjoy the Super Bowl. And then for you and I, it's just golf, right? For the next few months.
Yeah.
You and I just chopping it up, talking some golf here with ahead of the Masters and all of the big upcoming tournaments, Florida swing, everything else. Thanks again, Brady, for coming on. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a nice run of golf tournaments coming up here. Obviously, a super weekend coming up this weekend. But then we go to Pebble Beach. Then we go to Riviera. Then, as you mentioned, the Florida swing. And, next thing you know, we'll be heading down Magnolia Lane. So, yeah, golf kicking into gear.
Did not get the tickets. I did try to sign up to get myself some Masters tickets. I went on the website. I put my name in there, just random
every year, and says,
and I was like, let me give it a shot. Everyone talks about it, like, right, oh, I got to. I'm like, let me try. I told my son, if we get the tickets, we're gonna go to the Masters. I did not get the tickets. One of these years, I'm gonna get them though.
I'll be right here with
All right,
you.
Brady.
I didn't get them either.
All right, Brady. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Easier to win bets than it is to get those Masters tickets. All right, coming up next, there is an individual who is going to be at his 60th Super Bowl. That means every single one. I'll tell you who next.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers, they control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Can USA overtake Canada and get that gold, Joe?
Absolutely, they can here. And ultimately, it feels like that is the two-horse race. And I think ultimately, Canadians don't really care if their team competes in the luge or the bobsled, Donnie, or anything else. They just want that gold when it comes to ice hockey. And that is the only thing that's going to matter there.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Drake May and Sam Darnold here and again. Getting out of Stidham, which who knows what that have brought to the Super Bowl. But at least we get a young quarterback in Drake May looking to stamp his claim to, yeah, Tom Brady was great for this organization. Let me see if I can run a couple championships up the flagpole early in my career. And then there's Sam Darnold at this point, where he's getting other general managers fired while he's making his run to the Super Bowl. He's been nothing short of really, really good this season.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Before we get back to some Super Bowl conversation, it was announced yesterday that all-time great, honestly, let's be real, both as a broadcaster and as a player, Keith Hernandez is back doing Mets games next season on Sportsnet New York. He used to do 140 games. Then he was down to 110. I believe I see the announcement here that he will broadcast 91 Mets games, signs a 3-year deal, so that means he stays doing broadcasts for the Mets for a while. Very popular broadcaster, of course, great player for many years with the Cardinals and the Mets as well. All right, as we wrap up the show, history is made once again as somebody attends their 60th Super Bowl, which means he's been to every one. Aroldis Chapman not going to play in the World Baseball Classic. We'll tell you why and give you a preview of our programming Saturday night here on SportsGrid. Time now for some last licks. It will be a record 60 straight Super Bowls for John Beaver. Probably never heard of him. I don't blame you. John is a still photographer who, when he was very young, attended the first few Super Bowls as he was from Wisconsin and went with his father and covered the Packers. He then went on to pick up his dad's business later in life and is the only still videographer in the country to have attended every single Super Bowl. This year will be played in Santa Clara, and he will be there as well. No word on if this is his final one, but to my knowledge, he is probably the only media member or even photographer left to do this. Many years ago, the Miami Herald's Edwin Pope was the one who had been to all 40-some-odd Super Bowls. So congrats to him for making his 60th. As somebody who has been to many Super Bowls in the past, it's a great experience, and certainly hope he has a great time and hope he continues this tradition in Super Bowl 61 next year. Aroldis Chapman wants to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, but this is a little bit of, wonky to say. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word for it. Chapman, of course, defected from Cuba, and so he is not, for many reasons, going to play on the Cuban national team in the World Baseball Classic, and Cuba has done fairly well. But Chapman decided that he had some heritage in Great Britain and applied through their baseball association to play and announced that he would play for Great Britain in the upcoming World Baseball Classic, very similar to Jazz Chisholm Jr., who is from the Bahamas, which is considered Great Britain. But he was officially yesterday denied, and I guess in looking at it, it showed that Chapman had no lineage-based documentation that could prove that he was actually eligible. He received the offer back in June, so Chapman now is going to have to just simply go to Fort Myers and go to Boston Red Sox spring training and not play in the WBC. You're seeing a lot of this. These players who are not going to make the main teams, Team USA, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, are trying to find ways in, and you're seeing it through some other teams. But for Aroldis, the Cuban Missile, not going to play for Cuba for sure, and not going to play for Great Britain as well. Okay, folks, coming up on Saturday night, you make sure you keep it right here, because we got some great programming for you. It is the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Coming up Saturday night, it is Knuckle Mania 6, and you can watch it free here on SportsGrid. Remember, FanDuel Sportsbook is now the official sportsbook of Bare Knuckle Fighting, and the championships will deliver the event of the year, Knuckle Mania 6, live and free here on SportsGrid from Philadelphia. The very popular Ben Rothwell is going to square off against Andre Arlovsky, two heavyweight legends who entered the square circle in a bare knuckle war that defines championship level violence. Yes, those are my words. Not just kidding. Co-main event, Lorenzo the Juggernaut Hunt versus Dave Redneck Mundell. And so make sure you catch that as well. That is Saturday night. Also, some other featured bouts include Jade Masson Wong against Crystal Pittman, John Garabino against Kane Tomlinson Jr., Mike Richmond versus Joe Elmore, and Ben Bonner will fight Tony Soto. That's live and free this Saturday night on the eve of the Super Bowl, 7 p.m., February the 7th, right here on SportsGrid. Great live event programming coming up Saturday night. Hopefully you will be able to check it out. That will do it for our show today here on this Wednesday. Can we just get the Super Bowl kicked off already? Got to do another show tomorrow without the Super Bowl? Okay, fine. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again to Joe Lisi, Sam McQuillan, Simon Applebaum, and Brady Cannon for their appearances here on the show. As we return tomorrow, we'll get closer to the Super Bowl and also give you the latest in the NBA. By the way, lots of NBA trade rumors swirling around. Could we get a Giannis trade here in the next 24 hours? Seems like maybe there's a possibility of that. Stay tuned on that as well. Thanks again for my director, Luke, and producer, Frank. I'm Craig Mish. Hope you enjoyed this edition of NewsWire. We're going to do it all again tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern, exclusively here on SportsGrid. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at noon.